lunch, and hopefully everyone enjoyed that lunch. Thank you again to McAllister's Deli. Now, as we get ready for the next session, I want to introduce our panelists. First, we have Brittany Baker. She is the Maryland... She is the Maryland Director for the Chesapeake Climate Action Network. She leads advocacy and policy efforts in the state for CCAN. Before joining, she worked in the office of Maryland State Delegate Lorig Charkoudian on energy, food systems, mental health, and pedestrian safety legislation. She also supported the delegate by coordinating her annual Power in the Park events, which connect local communities to resources for reducing their energy burdens and registering clean energy programs. Her greatest passion is communicating with the public about climate solutions. She attended Columbia University, earning her MA, the Climate and Society program, and earned her BS in rhetoric at Vanderbilt. Next, we have Aneca Atkinson. She's the Assistant Secretary of Environmental Justice at the Maryland Department of the Environment. She joined the team from the National Audubon Society Mid-Atlantic, where she served as the director of the organization's Delaware River Watershed Program. She holds a Bachelor in Science and Engineering from Smith College and a Master of Science in Water Resources and Environmental Engineering from Villanova. She uses her expertise to operationalize Secretary McElwain's priority to strengthen environmental protection by ending systemic environmental injustices. And finally, we have Adam Ortiz, Deputy Secretary. He joins the department after an impactful tenure as Regional Administrator at the EPA's Mid-Atlantic office. Known for his innovative leadership, he spearheaded environmental justice initiatives, forged groundbreaking partnerships, and the effort leading to the highest Chesapeake Bay health rate in decades. He also served as former director of the Montgomery County and Prince George's County Departments of Environmental Protection and Mayor of Edmonston. So please give it up for our panelists.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm primarily the moderator today. Really excited to have this conversation. You know, we at CCAN believe in people-powered climate movement. And, you know, to really center people, you have to know. And so today we're going to have this conversation to get to know Aneca and Adam a little bit and know them as people, know them as leaders, and know their approach to their work at the Maryland Department of Environment. So since we only have 20 minutes, I'll dive right in. And let's start off with a first question. So we know that Maryland has really established itself as a leader, both in climate action, but also in environmental justice. And we've seen that through actions like passing the Climate Solutions Now Act, and also MDE's commitment to the Enviro Screen tool, which we know has been challenged in various ways, whether directly or just because of the new context we're living in. So thinking about our commitment to climate action and environmental justice, what would you say MDE is doing, or you as leaders at MDE are doing right now to deepen connections with communities, specifically environmental justice communities?
Well, okay. So when you said environment, so Aneca is one of the brightest environmental justice minds in the country. So when you said environmental justice, I was like, but we're all committed. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Brittany, and thank you, CCAN, and thank you, everybody, for having us here today. It's tough to read the newspaper. You know, there's a lot of headwinds for people who are trying to do good things in all policy areas, especially on climate, especially on environmental justice. So I think we're very lucky and we're very blessed to be in the state of Maryland. You know, Maryland is a state that has been environmentally focused for decades and decades, you know, because of our proximity to resources, because of the mix of people that we have in our dynamic cities and suburbs, and because of our history of being close to the land. This is the state of plowmen and fishermen, and this is the state that gets its bounty and our quality of life from the environment. So we're thinking ahead. We're really lucky, Brittany, that in the state we have strong policy foundation to build on. We have record investments, resources that are available that, you know, are never enough, often to meet environmental challenges, but they're the most in the state. So the question is, what do we do with this opportunity? And even though there's headwinds coming from the federal government, that means that it's our time. That means that it's up to us to engage. So to answer your question about working with communities, that this is a team effort. The environment is a team effort. We need everybody involved because it's a big deal. So it requires our support and our work, at the state level with regulations and policy making and grant making. That's bigger stuff. But really, we're only going to be successful if we empower folks who are doing stuff in communities, that we empower county and local governments, that we empower organizations, nonprofits, schools, educators. And the good news is that we have those resources. The good news is that we're on the same page on 95% of the issues, and to hold ourselves accountable. And that we do that by having regular conversations and engaging stakeholders as much as possible. So I'll just, before I pass the mic, if there's folks who want to be in conversations, who don't feel like their organization or their entity has a connection with us, please reach out to Aneca and I, because this is a team effort, and when we solve this problem, it's because we're doing it together.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. So I get asked that question a lot, and I think it starts with trust. I mean, that's what I do in my daily life. I don't really interact with you if I don't trust the outcome or that what you're guaranteeing me that it's going to happen or what's not going to happen, right? You can tell me bad things are going to happen and good things are going to happen, and I still might not trust you, right? So it starts with trust. So one of the things that I've done coming to Maryland and to do this work is try to build those relationships. And believe me, I know it takes time. And I want to thank, because I see a lot of people in the audience and a lot of folks participating today that have trusted me and kind of went on this journey with me. But we have to build trust in relationships. And how we do that as an agency is meaningful engagement. And I have on my notes highlighted meaningful engagement, right? That's, I think one of the speakers on the panel earlier mentioned like having a meeting at 12 o'clock to talk about something with community is not meaningful engagement. And then being transparent about what we do. Folks have heard me say, I will walk you through the process. You call me and you say, Aneca, how did this become a permit? I will tell you how that process works. And so you're informed about that process, but also if you want to see change in that process, you can't change it if you don't know how it goes. And you'll be surprised because of how bureaucracy is set up. A lot of us don't know how the cake is made and the pieces that go into it and who's responsible for breaking the eggs versus putting in the butter. And that there are actually different people who are responsible for those things, right? Because when we do it at home, we're superwoman, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're doing it all. But when you look into state government, it's a lot of moving part and different pieces and people who are responsible for that. So trying to make sure folks understand what that is and being very transparent about how that works. And then the other one is collaborating on actions. Folks will meet with me and they'll say, hey, Aneca, I had this idea. And I'll be like, you know what? My team can help you with that. Or I know these other individuals at the local level or at this other nonprofit that can help you. Let me do some introductions. Let's have some conversations to see how we can mobilize around this interest that the community wants, that they're prioritizing, and see how that can fit into our work. I got the card, so I'm gonna stop talking.
No problem at all. That was fantastic. Thank you all for sharing that. And it's really interesting because you spoke about your proactive approach to reaching out to communities. But I mean, even as a state director for CCAN, sometimes certain communities, we just don't even know them. They're not on our radar. I'm really excited, actually, because next week I'm going to the Nanjemoy Community Center in Charles County. But how did I find out about that community and community center? Totally random, deep research, late nights, just scrolling to find out who are the people across Maryland and how can I get to know them. So sometimes as leaders, as agencies, there are communities we don't know about. So your proactive work is very positive, but communities who will want to reach out to you, what is your advice to them? How can they get connected to the resources at MDE?
Well, the most important thing, and this just isn't for good, but it's a good rule in life, don't be shy. Don't be shy, and don't give up. If you can't find a number, an email, if there's not a response, keep trying. If we're hearing from you, we want to respond to you. And the proactivity is really where the magic is. We're going to solve these problems because we're working together. We're a common community, and we have to work together to solve challenges of the common good. So we want to hear. But I also want to say that, we're the government, but we're only the government. We're only the government. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many resources we have. And we know some stuff, but we only know what we know. There's a lot of wisdom in this room. There's a lot of experience among all of you. So I also challenge everybody here to reach out to folks who might not be at the table, to people whose voices we aren't hearing, and to help them and pull them up. Because we're going to do the best job we can, but sometimes folks that are disenfranchised or on the margins, don't know, what phone number to call or what to look up because they're dealing with challenges, everyday challenges. So that's a call for all of us to reach out, to find folks whose voices we aren't hearing that we need to hear and help them be heard.
And I will add, with my team, which is growing, and I'm so excited as of April, and now I have staff, and you'll see them walking around. Alex, Nevin, Ardinia, and Noble are here. So we went from an EJ team that was just kind of me with some help to a team of 4 on staff. And part of that is that we're your entry point into a very large, complicated agency. So if you have an issue, you have a concern, you can call us. You can go on our website, get our numbers. You have our cards. You can contact us. The other thing that I've been doing is just going into communities. I just, my team, we might see, they're having a block party, or and I'm from Philly, so I say block party, but, they're having an event, they're having a festival, and we might just be there. We might have a few cards of engagements or things of that nature, but we're not there because we need something. We're here to just be part of the community, to understand what the community wants to prioritize and give folks access to us. And that has worked well. And then out of word of mouth, more folks are coming and saying, hey, Aneca, did you know I have this issue in my area, or I have questions about that? And I'm like, come on in, let's talk about it. Let's see how we can prioritize what the community wants under my authorities to get those things done. So even gauging people who are on the fringe is proactive. You have to be an intentional, and that's what we are. We're intentionally going out and saying, hey, we're here, how can we help? And then you might not want to talk to me. Some communities I reached out to a year ago when I first got here, and they said, I don't know who you are, lady. I don't want to talk to you. But today I can tell you I was just at their community center, and we were having a large group event where I was talking to the whole community. And some of that takes time. Like it said, okay, I understand that you don't want to talk to me today, but how about tomorrow? And did you know about this thing that might help, things that are helping, happening in your area? And I see the time up card, but I want to plug the Enviro Screen tool, or even any other equity screen tools. A lot of these tools, if you don't know and you want to be proactive and help, can identify areas of potential concern where you can kind of go out and then say, well, let me do my own research now. I have an idea of where there might be some issues here. Maybe I'll go down to that community and see if there is in fact issues that I can help with or be part of.
Wow, fantastic. I'm going to try to squeeze in one more question. Even though this is a fireside chat, we knew it was going to be brief, but some of the top lines that we've gotten today are that it takes time to build trust, but you all are working on it. And also we can all of us play a part in getting communities connected to all the resources that we have in the Maryland government, and the environmental justice team can help us with that initial entry point for communities who aren't so skilled at working with the government. And thinking about that, Aneca, you just said trust takes time. So thinking about the next 3 to 5 years, and I'll move it to 6 years because we also want to be on the other side of the current administration. Feel free to take it there. What do you desire for Maryland in that time frame? What do you desire for the Maryland Department of Environment?
Oh, I'm going to go first. Okay, so I think what I envision the most is kind of seeing the executive order that was recently put out by the governor, the Valuing Opportunity, Inclusion, and Community Equity Voice executive order, coming to fruition, right? One of the hugest things about that order was government working within itself to be effective for the people. And there's some steps to get there and outlining that, but seeing us on the path to getting that done, that is what I see for Maryland. And I want, I'm at the front of Adam and myself at the front of trying to move that forward. Because once all of government can affect how people live their daily lives, and for the better, that is where we all benefit. And that's where we want to be.
So one of the first things I said in this meeting was that this is our time. And this is a tough time, folks. It's like, we do not have a partner in the federal government. We're under assault in many different ways, but we still have power. There's still a lot that we can accomplish to keep the needle moving. So, the objective, my biggest objective, is to beat cynicism. I reject cynicism. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity, and we have the policy framework. We have resources. We have people who care. Everybody in this room cares. And then 100 or hundreds of people who also care. That's a lot of power that we have. So, we have good momentum on a variety of things: building energy performance standards, 5 million trees, clean cars, EV chargers, empower. We have all these tools. So to get the wins and to celebrate the wins and to prove in a cynical world that we can get great things done here in Maryland, because it's our time.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. We will keep celebrating wins. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone.